Hello everyone, and welcome back to Unbound Learners Pre-K. My name is Nina. What's your name? It's great to meet you. Let's sing our good morning song together. Stretch your arms out like airplane wings and fly to one side, over to the other side, once more in the middle, and now bring your airplane wings into a big circle out in front of you like this. Next, take your circle up over your head and stretch to one side, over to the other side, and up at the top before we bring the circle back down and sing together. If you know the words, you can sing along with me. Good morning, dear earth. Good morning, dear sun. Good morning, dear rocks and flowers everyone. Good morning, dear beast and birds in the trees. Good morning to you and good morning to me. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Circle Time. I hope that you're having a wonderful day so far. There are 3 things that we need to do quickly. First, let's turn on our listening ears. Second, let's put on our thinking hats. Mine is right behind me. I'm going to put it on top of my head, and today my thinking hat has a zipper under my chin, so I'm going to zip it up. And the third and final thing that we need to do is warm up our hearts. But how do we do that? Will you show me how? That's right, friends. Boom, 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 boom. So we have our listening ears on, our thinking hats on, and our hearts are all warmed up. Let's get started with circle time. First, we're going to go over the date. We begin with the month, which is right up here. Do you know what the month is? June. That's right, the month is June, and today is June 17th. Let's move the chip over from yesterday. Yesterday was June 16th, and today is June 17th. 2021 or 2021. You can say that the year is 2021 or 2021. Both ways are correct. Can I see your counting fingers like this? And let's warm them up and give them a stretch. I also think that before we count all the days that we've had so far, we should take a deep breath because we have quite a lot of counting to do. Let's breathe the air in through our noses and out from our mouths, like this. Let's do that one more time together. And we have our counting fingers ready. Let's start off at the top with the number 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have had 17 days so far in the month of June. Let's move on to the Days of the Week song. Will you show me how many fingers we should hold up? 7. We hold up 7 fingers for this song because we have 7 days in our week. The song goes like this. There are 7 days, there are 7 days, there are 7 days in a week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's go down to the bottom of the chart. Listen carefully for the sound that the day starts with, and then you can say the day if you know what it is. Yesterday was Wednesday. So that means that today is Thursday. Tomorrow will be Friday, the last day of the weekday. Let's sing Today is Thursday together. Will you sing with me? Today is Thursday, today is Thursday, today is Thursday, all day long. Today is Thursday, today is Thursday, today is Thursday, all day long. Now let's go back up to the top of the chart where we have the season. Do you know what the season is? Spring! That's right! But guess what, friends? The next time that I see you, we'll have a brand new season up here. It will not be springtime anymore. Instead, it will be summer. The next time I see you, it will be summertime. But for now, it's still springtime where I live. Now let's go down to the bottom of the chart and sing the weather song together. What's the weather? What's the weather? Can you tell? Can you tell? Is the sun shining? Is the rain falling? Can you tell? Can you tell? So today, when I look outside of my window, it's another mostly sunny day, but there are still a few puffy white cumulus clouds in the sky. And my temperature chart is on orange because it's warm. Warm and mostly sunny. What's the weather like where you live, friends? Look out your window and let me know what you see. Thanks for sharing the weather with me. Now let's move on to the letter, the number, and the sign of the week. So today will be the last day talking about this uppercase letter. Do you remember the sound that this letter makes? That's right. And do you remember what letter this is called? M. This is an uppercase or capital M. M says Let's take a peek and see what's inside of the letter box today. So it's something that starts with the letter M. This is the flowering part of a fungus. This is something that grows around or on trees. Do you know what it could be? Let's take a peek. I have a mushroom right here. Mushroom starts with the letter M. A mushroom is the flowering part of a fungus. So this is actually a dehydrated shiitake mushroom that I grew on my mushroom logs that I inoculated a few years ago. So the stalk, which is like the stem, that part is cut off. So we have the cap right here. And then if you flip it over on the other side, you can see the gills right here. Now this mushroom is dry or dehydrated. That means that all of the moisture and water has been dried out, and now if you tap it, you can hear it sounds a little bit hard, almost like a rock. Mushroom starts with the letter M. This is how you write an uppercase or capital M. One more time. Today is also going to be the last day talking about this number. Do you know what number this is? 3. And can you hold up 3 fingers for me? 1, 2, 3. 3. Let's count to the number 3 using the large bead frame. This week, we are going to count to the number 3 using the large bead frame. So we are going to count the green beads at the top, which are units. Let's count 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. 3 units. We still have something else to count. Let's open up the box and see what we have. I have some leaves. I'm going to line these leaves up across the top of the box so that we can count them together. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. 3 leaves. So we've gone over the letter of the week, the number of the week, and now let's move on to the sign of the week. Today is also going to be the last day saying beach in sign language. Will you show me how? That's right, friends. You take one of your hands and you put it out in front of you flat like this. And with your other hand, you're going to bring it up and across, almost like a wave. Beach. One difference between the ocean and other bodies of water, like lakes or ponds, is that oceans have salty water instead of fresh water. Have you ever gone swimming in the ocean and tasted the salty water? So oceans are salty because they collect all of the minerals in salt that are transported from the rivers. Salt water is more buoyant than fresh water, which means that an object will be more likely to float in salty water. I have a really cool experiment to share with you today, and it has to do with salt water and fresh water. For today's experiment, I have 2 eggs. I'm going to drop one egg into the fresh water and the other egg into the salt water. And then I'm going to see if they sink or if they float. So right here I have my fresh water. This water does not have any salt in it. And over here I have an empty jar and I'm going to make the salt water. So I have some salt right here. I'm just going to take some spoonfuls of salt. I'm going to add quite a lot of it. I want to make sure that this water is very dense. Salt water is more dense than fresh water. So I have the salt. Next I'm going to add some water. I want to make sure that I have the same amount of water in both jars. A little bit more. And now I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to mix it up. Mix the salt into the water and make sure that it dissolves. So keep mixing until I don't see any more salt at the bottom. When I'm mixing, I like to mix around and then up and down. It helps to make sure that all of the salt is dissolved. There we go. I don't really see much salt left. Okay. Let's move on to the fun part. So first, let's make a prediction or take a guess. When I take this egg and I drop it into the fresh water, do you think that the egg will float or do you think that it will sink down to the bottom? What's your prediction? Okay, let's see what happens. That egg went right to the bottom. The egg sunk. And now let's take another guess. What do you think is going to happen when I take this egg and drop it into the salt water? Do you think it's going to float or sink? What's your prediction? Let's test it out. Wow! Friends, do you see this egg? It's bobbing up to the top. It's floating. This egg is more buoyant in the salt water. That's why it's floating. So let's go over this. I have the fresh water here and the egg dropped right down to the bottom. But in the salt water, because the salt water is more dense, the egg is floating to the top. That was pretty cool. The salt that we eat is a mineral that originally comes from the sea. but the water has been evaporated or dried up. For today's work, I'm going to show you how that works. Let's go check it out. For today's work, you will need a cup of salty water, a spoon, and a piece of black paper. So this water has been cooled, but the first thing to do is to take about a half of a cup of salt and pour it into about a cup of water and then boil it. And this part of the work you can have your grown-up help you with because it involves using a stove, which can be pretty hot. So once you have added the salt to the water and it's heated up, you can just use your spoon and you can mix it until all the salt dissolves into the water. Then you can take the hot water and pour it into a cup or a glass like this and just let it cool until it's ready to handle. So this is a cup of salt water. The salt has been completely dissolved and the water is no longer hot. I have my black piece of paper right here, and I'm going to take my spoon and I'm just going to take spoonfuls of the salt water and pour it onto the black piece of paper and just spread it out like this. So when you're making a saltwater mixture, you really don't need a lot because as you can see, just one spoonful definitely pretty much covers the piece of paper like this. When you make your mixture, you just want it to be about half water and about half salt. So I have the salt water on my black piece of paper like this, and I'm just going to take this piece of paper and I'm going to keep it on the baking tray or on the plastic work tray or the baking tray and set it out in a sunny spot or even under a light and let it dry for a few days. Let me show you what the paper looks like once the water has completely evaporated or dried up. So I did this a few days ago. I poured the warm salt water onto this piece of black paper, and then I let it dry for a few days under some grow lights. And now look at the paper. The water is completely gone and the salt is left. In fact, the salt has crystallized. As you can see, it's pretty bumpy and rough. So I recommend using sea salt for this work, but table salt will work as well. Let's get back to circle time. The salt that we eat is a mineral that originally comes from the sea, but the water has been evaporated or dried up. Remember, friends, today's work may take a little bit of time as you wait for all of the water to evaporate or dry up. Thanks for learning with me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up and be sure to find me on OutSchool for my live and interactive classes. You can also support my channel by checking out my Patreon page and gain access to bonus features for your child. We have one last song to sing before we go. Let's wave goodbye like this. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. I'll see you next time. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you back on Monday as we continue our ocean exploration. Have a great day, everyone.